Thank you to our mesh capellas. So next up we have another speaker. Oh, Celia Krefter. Would you look at that? I'm Celia Krefter, and this is my talk called Education Through Passion. Imagine that you are working at your dream job. Imagine that you have been working at this job since you graduated from high school or from college, and imagine that you have known that this was your dream job from the time that you were a child. Think about how different your life would be if this was your reality. Now, what if we could send every student who goes through the public education system in America this reality as their future? This can be their future. And I'm here today to share with you how we can turn this what if into a reality. So let's begin at the beginning. The origin of mass public schooling. So mass public schooling is just that, educating the masses publicly. And this came about at the turn of the 19th century in the Industrial Revolution, as we call it. And the Industrial Revolution was when factories started cropping up in urban areas and people were moving from their farms to go and get factory jobs in the cities. Now, this was great as, it changed the economy in a lot of ways, except there was a problem. The people who ended up in the cities at the factory jobs had no training on how to actually do these jobs. All they knew was their farm life. So a solution was proposed to educate en masse all of these people and be able to train them for this factory life. And that was when mass public schooling was created. And it included such things as bells to make sure that people were getting to their shifts on time or their class on time, sitting in rows just like you would be doing at the factory, sitting in rows at the assembly line, things like uniforms and conformity and making sure that people were obedient and obeying the factory boss or whoever, any other authorial position. So eventually this industrial age shifted to the information age. And the information age was when computers started to come about, more people got interested in technology, and rather than the factory job, it was the office job with the steady salary. And this information age, had a lot of people converging to learn new things, and that was the main point of it, learning information and spreading it around. This information age eventually shifted into the age we're in now, which I like to call the creative revolution. Now, this creative revolution is different from the information age in that rather than learning new ideas, we're creating them. And people are craving, coming up with new ideas and sharing them with other people and receiving the ideas of others. This creative revolution is filled with an energy and creation of new jobs by people, entrepreneurship, online jobs, and more artists than ever. And it's really, shifting the economy and the society in amazing new ways. So the economy and society have both shifted through these ages from the Industrial Revolution, changing with the times. But there's one thing that has not changed, or barely changed at all, and that is the education system. We still utilize the same system that was created when the Industrial Revolution came about. And the fact that this is still happening is the problem and the root of what I'm about to tell you today. After all, the world that we're in now, in this country, does not want factory workers graduating from schools. We need new people who think of new ideas and want to share and want to learn and spread themselves and just be creative people in this world. And if we are still utilizing this factory system, we cannot create these people. So what we need is innovators and change makers to create new success in this new age. We need education to inspire passion. So what I'm calling for is drastic reform. And I use the word drastic because it should be drastic. We need to tear down the education system as it is and rebuild it from the ground up to fit this drastic new age that we've entered as a society. So only the most cutting edge people and the most cutting edge ideas and the most cutting edge system will be able to make the changes that we need and have the impact that needs to be had. We need our new system to teach kids to be innovators, to inspire themselves, to make their own decisions, and to take charge of their own futures. It's too late to start this process in high school, at the beginning of high school, or at the beginning of college. You can't wait until a student is 18 and say, okay, I've been pretty much making decisions for you your whole life. You've been herded along with the rest of the cattle and been told how to do things and when to do them. Now, all of a sudden, I need you to make this major life decision right now. What are you doing for the rest of your life? You can't tell that to an 18-year-old without giving them any experience on how to do this. And it doesn't really help much if you tell that to a 14-year-old who's starting their high school career. What needs to happen is these things need to begin at the earliest stage, when children are 5 years old and in kindergarten. This is when they need to start making their own decisions and taking charge of their own futures. So you may be thinking, how does this affect you? Perhaps you've already gone through school, or you might have kids, but you might have kids that have already gone through school, and you're thinking, it's too late for me, this won't affect me. But the thing is the education system shapes our future, and the future includes things like the economy and the world. So anything that happens in the education system affects everyone. So how will this affect the economy? Well, this will create a high-performing, effective economy of new ideas and innovation. When everyone is doing things that mean something to them and being innovators, the economy will spring up with a ton of new ideas and new jobs as people are moving towards the things that inspire them the most. And how will this affect the world? Well, imagine how different the world would be once every single person is doing what they love and doing something that they're passionate about and working to do good in this world. Because the main foundation of this system is that every single person is born with something inside of them that they are meant to do. They are born with a passion in life and a passion for something in the world, and they are meant to bring this good into the world. They are meant to discover this passion and utilize it and make good things happen. And I truly believe that this passion and this meaning in life is at the root of every single person in this world. And the sad thing is that there are so many people who never discover this passion within them and never get to do this thing that they were meant to do. So this new system would ensure that every single student does find this thing and does find it easy to do and be able to do it well so that they can use it and do that good thing in the world. So imagine that world where every single person is living up to their full potential and doing this great thing that they were born to do. I would personally want to live in that world, and I think that it would create a better world for everyone. So I've been talking for a while now about what this new system would do, and you may ask yourself, what is this new system? How would this work? So I have the reform plan for you. So this system would create a free-spirited thinker who can make their own decisions and take charge of their life, has a passion for life and a passion for learning, and a desire to do good in this world. It would begin at an explorational phase in grades kindergarten through 5. Now this phase would be the exploration of the self and of the world. And students would be able to figure out who they are as people, what they really like, what gets them going, and what they love to do, and the world around them, the cultures and other people that are here, and how we interconnect as a globe. So this would of course include some required subjects, but they would be taught a little differently. They would be taught in a more free-spirited, thought-encouraging way, rather than the same system that we've been using since industrial times. These required subjects would obviously include reading and math. Everyone needs to know how to read, everyone needs to know how to do arithmetic. But they would also include a required geography class, both physical and the basics of human geography. After all, I believe that knowing the geography of our world is as important as knowing how to read. Knowing the world around us and the people who are living here and how their cultures work is so important to understanding who we are and where we come from. I think if every student has to take a class where they learn about the cultures of everyone, everywhere, then prejudice will drop to a new low. And I can only think of the amazing things that that would do for this world. I also think that students should start learning different languages as early as possible, kindergarten. And not just one language or 2 languages, but 4 or 5. Young students have incredibly elastic brains and can learn languages at amazing rates. I think that we're wasting an opportunity by not giving these kids the chance to learn as many languages as they can so they can truly become global citizens. Here in America, we have a very low rate of people speaking more than one language, of being bilingual. And I think if we changed this and gave kids the opportunity to learn several languages early on, that would be amazing for this country and the world as well. So another thing that I would propose to be mandatory in these required classes in this exploration phase would be required music and dance classes. What I say here is, with the dance classes, we all have bodies, we can all move, and music is at the root of the core and the root of humanity. And dancing, it doesn't have to happen with your whole body. It can happen with just your arms, or just your toes, or just your eyebrows. All it is the moving to music and feeling the rhythm. And music in itself, and learning to sing, or to hit a drum or play an instrument, that is also another way to experience that rhythm and to be connected with people creatively. Dance and music, I think, are outlets for people that we should be doing our whole lives to release our creative energy in amazing forms of art. And oftentimes, there's a stigma around dance and music for adults who haven't done it before. And that's because we don't do it enough as children, and it starts to lose its value over time. And then adults get to their adult life and say, oh no, I don't dance. When really, if we were teaching kids to dance together every day from the time that they're young, that stigma would be eliminated. And I think that would be great, creatively, for us as a people. Dancing can make people happy. So the rest of this explorational phase would consist of the daily exploration of new occupations and new paths in life. Every day, students would get exposure to another thing that they would be able to do, whether it's orthodontistry, or botany, or biochemistry, or acting, or beekeeping, or stage managing, or literature. You never know what a kid will really connect with and what will really inspire them, no matter what age they are. Everyone has something that they are really meant to do, and if this thing can be discovered when they're that young, that would be amazing. So we need to give kids the opportunity to explore all of these options when they're young. And that explorational phase will take place for 5 years, so they'll get plenty of time to explore all of the opportunities that are available to them in this amazing country. So in grades 6 through 8 will be when students are narrowing down and deciding what they really want to do. And grades 6 through 8, what we call middle school, is a very important time for students, both physically and socially, for development. And if we're expecting students to develop in these ways, I think it would be a perfect time for them to make a choice like this one. After making choices and sifting through all the things that they've explored in the early stages, for them to make their real choices of what they want to do for the rest of their life at this stage would be perfect, right when they're figuring themselves out. And I think this time would be, you narrow it down and figure out, these are the 3 things that inspire me the most. I love beekeeping, I love biochemistry, and I love writing. And you would spend more time on those things and start to really think about what a life full of each of those things would be like. So then in 9th grade would begin the real training for the thing that they've decided to choose. So 9th grade through college and whatever other higher education is chosen would be the main training for whatever this thing is. So say a student decides to be a beekeeper, because beekeeping really, makes them excited. They think honeybees are important in this world and they want to be a person who protects them. And they, all through 9th grade, they would be learning how to be the most amazing beekeeper that there is. And they would be, having in-depth training and individualized learning on it. And the great thing is that in this world and in this age, we have the internet to give us that opportunity of individualized learning. Students really can learn whatever, each person learning a different thing at the same time, thanks to the internet. Of course, we will still need educators to guide students and give them in-person education, but the internet will allow us to get the nitty-gritties of each student's education done. So this 9th through 12th grade phase will continue into college, where students are really shaping and honing their passion and really getting prepared to move into a field already at an advanced level. So what this system would do is create those free-spirited, thought-encouraging classrooms, and it would eliminate testing altogether. No more evaluations, because all that does is create anxiety. Instead, I call for projects for individual development and growth. So these projects could be individually or collaboratively, and would help students to utilize the skills that they've learned to do something for good and do a project that actually has an impact on the world around them at the beginning before they even truly enter their field as an adult. Also, I call for students to take things at their own pace. It doesn't work to throw 30 students in a room and expect them all to learn at the same speed. Some students learn things faster and some learn things slower, and this individualized learning system would allow all students to learn at whatever pace they need to. Also, we need less factory-style rules. I think that the school environment should be a trusting environment where students are trusted to really love the thing they're learning about. If all students are, spending their time on something they're passionate about, it's going to be something that they want to do and something that they really are going to truly, motivate themselves to learn. So we need these trusting environments where we're not ordering kids into rows with, bells and whatever, when students should be able to, have their own freedom to sit down and learn and be self-motivated. Also, no more required subjects. A student who knows that they're going into physics shouldn't have to take a higher level English class. And a student who knows that they want to be a writer shouldn't have to take a higher level chemistry class. Students should be able to create their own personalized education based on whatever classes they want to take and whatever classes they think will really apply to them in their lives. So the point of all of this is to kindle passion and a love for lifelong learning, because the system we have now often stunts the potential of students and creates a hatred for learning. And that's really devastating to me, is that the system we have now actually creates graduates who hate learning because the way that we go about it now is so ineffective. And I think that this more free-spirited system where students are learning the things they love would help them to have more of a stronger love for learning. So I'm going to share with you 6 words that I want you to take away from this talk. 6 words that kind of encompass this whole system and everything that it stands for. And whether you're an educator, you can bring this into your classroom, or if you're a parent, you can bring this into the home. But these are the 6 words that I think are at the root of this whole free-spirited idea. Exploration, communication, emotion, individuality, innovation, and passion. So I'm going to briefly explain each thing. Exploration is exploration of the world and of themselves. So students, this whole beginning explorational phase, will explore the world around them rather than just taking one track and moving through life. This exploration is essential to understanding yourself, and understanding the world we live in, and really getting the full scope of all of the things available. Communication is with each other and globally. Communication is something that should be fostered from the earliest possible age. Healthy communication between students and healthy communication with students with the rest of the world will help them break out of their little bubble of home, wherever they are, and understand that the world is out there waiting for them. And communicating with each other will create a life of healthy relationships and getting things done by talking to people in effective ways. Emotion to motivate creativity and to return humanity to the classroom. Humanity is something that is often zapped away by the factory industrial system that we still have in place. And this humanity needs to be returned to every classroom through emotion. After all, emotion is what inspires innovation. When people are innovators, they are urged to innovate by some kind of struggle or some kind of joy. And this emotion to motivate this innovation needs to be returned for all students so they can have more experiences to innovate. And emotion is also what inspires art. All art comes from some form of emotion. It comes from some kind of drive and some kind of pit in the stomach to release the creative energy through this emotion in art. And if we take this emotion out of classrooms, this kind of art and innovation will never get the chance to be created. Individuality to kindle the individual and their unique talents, rather than just educate the masses. Each person is unique and has their own meaning here and their own unique way of learning and their own thing that they really want to learn. If we educate en masse, like we have been doing in batches, it won't kindle the individual in the same way that it could. Students need to have the opportunity to get attention as individual people and for people to really understand who they are and get them to develop a sense of self rather than just being a part of another group. And this individuality is what drives the confidence to set new ideas into the world. Innovation is to bring ideas you love to life, to give you success throughout your life. So this innovation is the creation of these new ideas that people create and to bring them into life for, whatever value you need them to create, whether it's, success or anything else. So this innovation needs to come from these places of emotion and communication and needs to be brought out into the world. Lastly is passion, the force driving all of the other things, the force behind it all. Passion is that flame in the heart that really makes someone love to do something. This passion needs to be harnessed by every single student and every single person in this world to create a life that is successful and fulfilling. So I would like to close with a quote. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Children are people. More than anything, we need to teach them how to love. We need to teach them how to love themselves, each other, and the world. And we need to teach them to love learning. When children learn to love, the world will begin to heal. Thank you. So next up we have Worthington Dennis.